Well, good morning, everyone, and what an exciting day it is here. We were just working out that we have 5 different time zones here in Australia at the moment, thanks to daylight savings. And where young Richard is in the USA, they go off daylight savings. So next time we see him, anyway, we got to get these times all sorted out, but we're here at Queensland time, the same time every week. And so it's always 10:30 or 11, depending on who my guest happens to be. Right. So here in Bronie's world today, at Bronie's desk, we have the amazing product formula, also known as Dr. Dirt, the amazing Richard Renton. And today I've asked him, because I've been asked the question, to speak on our calcium and the different forms of calcium we have and why, because I noticed it's different in a couple of different formulas in a few of our different products. And of course, as everyone knows, well, as everyone should know, you should never take calcium on its own. It has to have cofactors with it. And that's what I love about our company is Doc Wallach has talked and preached about the cofactors in everything all the time, and it doesn't give you just one thing and another. That's why he never recommends just one particular ingredient, because without the cofactors, the ingredient doesn't do the job it's meant to do. So with no further ado, Richard, I'm going to hand the show now over to you. Thank you, my dear friend.
Thanks for having me on. It's always fun to come back. I had a great holiday. I'd like to thank all of you for allowing me to skip away for a little bit. I made a comment last time I was on that I was going to take the plant-derived minerals and spray my beard and see if the color comes back over the month. Well, there was a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing is it's not that it didn't work, but when I got on the airplane, I had a 6-ounce bottle of the plant-derived minerals to spray on it, and the TSA took it away from me. So they wouldn't let me put it on the plane, so I didn't do it. So it's not that it didn't work. I didn't do it. I don't know which is better to say, but thanks. We'll play around with it more and see what
now
happens.
you'll have to play around with it for the next month, and we can see what happens at the end of November when you come back to join us.
Yep. And on my other call that I'll be doing, I'm always asked, what's a question before I start talking about products. And it was a pretty good question this week. They asked, what's the most common ingredient in the human body? And in case you didn't know, it's water. And 60% of your weight is water, which means if you weigh as light as 70 kilos, you have 42 kilos of water in you. And so it kind of tells you how important and not allowing yourself to dehydrate and whatnot. And so we wanted to talk about some of the major minerals. We're going to talk about calcium, magnesium, potassium. And, you know, in calcium, there's several different forms. There's tricalcium phosphate, there's calcium carbonate, there's calcium citrate, there's calcium gluconate, and they all have their pluses and minuses. And calcium hydroxyapatite. How's that one for a name? The one that absorbs the most, according to research, is calcium hydroxyapatite. It mostly comes from plants, but its downfall is that you have what's called an element weight, and then you have a compound weight. And so the element weight of if I have 100 grams of calcium hydroxyapatite, only 17 grams of it is calcium. So if I wanted to give you 1,200 grams, I would have to have some astronomical amount weight-wise to do it, which makes it not practical to do. One of the main reasons why we use tricalcium phosphate is that that's exactly what it is. It's 75% calcium and 25% phosphate, tricalcium phosphate. And therefore, when we try to put 1,200 in a liquid or in a powder in a serving that stays in suspension, we can do that. If we use nothing but citrate, to use another example, citrate, it's about 30% calcium we wanted to put 1,000 milligrams in, we would have to put 3,000 of calcium citrate, hoping that it would stay in suspension. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. It just goes right to the bottom. And so we use a lot of calcium, tricalcium phosphate. Now, if you like CalMag under the biometric family, they actually have calcium carbonate, which has the bad reputation of not absorbing very well. But they've done a special process to it to make the oversized molecule smaller so that it absorbs better. And they do the same thing with the magnesium it's in there as well. So it's actually a really good product. So dollar to dollar, tricalcium phosphate's the most beneficial for us in our complex liquids, our complex powders, because we can keep everything in suspension. Now, if you take Beyond Tangy Tangerine or Osteo powder and you pour it in the glass and stir it, or even CalMag, and you let it sit for 4 hours, you're going to see some settling in the bottle. And all you got to do is re-stir it back up. It absorbs better when it's absorbed to acid. So when you put it in your stomach, you have acid in your stomach and away you go, and it's beneficial. So the average person in their body has about 1.3 kilos of calcium. And calcium is used primarily in your bones. 90% of all the calcium in your body is in your bones, and it helps strengthen your bones and your teeth and provides a better place for osteoclasts and osteocasts to work. And those two guys are the little guys that shape your bones so that they work well. Or if you break a bone, they rebuild your bone and reshape it the way it's supposed to be. And it's kind of a neat thing. Calcium also helps prevent osteoporosis, and it supports growth within your entire body. The other things that it does is that calcium is required for synapse and contraction to take place in your muscles. And so it works at passing the signal to your muscle, and it helps your muscle fibers contract so that you can contract your muscles and extend your muscles. Those are both key things. Some of the other things is that your blood can't clot without calcium in it. It helps release hormones as a cofactor. That word was brought up a little bit earlier. And it helps manage PMS as far as cramps and mood swings and bloating and those types of things. So there's lots of great things. Now, you can get calcium in a supplement, of course, but you can also get it in green leafy lettuce and collard greens. Almost all fortified cereals has calcium in it. Canned fish or fresh fish and salmon especially have amounts of calcium in it. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about magnesium, and magnesium, well, calcium, to give you an example, I forgot to tell you this, there's over, I'm going to get this wrong. Magnesium has over 300 cofactors that it works with. And so for your calcium to work effectively, it's one of those 300. And the ideal formula is that within your bloodstream, don't have to take it all at once, but it's beneficial if it does, but you don't have to take it all at once. You want to have about half the amount of calcium. For every 100 grams of calcium, you want 50 grams of magnesium. So you want a 2-to-1 ratio for optimum service. But here's the challenge, is that if you take calcium citrate, which I usually don't recommend, that's what they recommend for a colonoscopy or prepping for a colonoscopy, if that gives you an idea of what happens when you take large amounts of that. You'll have a flushing of your colon. Now, in some cases, some people want a softening in their stool, so taking a small amount of calcium citrate is beneficial. Calcium glutamate is much more common because it doesn't give you that flushing action within your colon and works. It helps regulate blood pressure. It helps regulate your heart rhythm. It will reduce cardiovascular disease. In your bone, about 60% of the magnesium is absorbed in your bone and is just as important in the bone structure as the calcium is. It's really helps you mentally with stress and anxiety. It also helps memory. I'm going to cough, excuse me. as well as calming the overall nervous system. It's a cofactor with melatonin. So if you need to take melatonin to help you sleep and you don't take any magnesium, melatonin doesn't work, as we discussed earlier, and it helps your muscles relax. So as calcium helps your muscle contract, magnesium helps your muscles relax, thus working in that cofactor situation. The average also is a big factor in type 2 diabetes in lowering your blood sugar. You know, magnesium, typically the average person needs 400 plus milligrams of magnesium, up to 600, but they have to spread it out during the course of the day. And so this is one of those products, if you take CalMag, where there's a 2-to-1 ratio, you can spread it out easily during the course of the day. The only thing is if all of a sudden you talk to your people and they start to have a lot of loosening of their colon, or bowel movement, you need to spread it out more. You need to drink more water and spread it out more so that you're not having that wham to your system. Just like with calcium, lettuce and green leafies are a good source of where you get it, especially spinach, nuts and seeds, legumes, whole grain, and my favorite, dark chocolate.
Wow, I love
you got to have the dark chocolate. To get that 72% cocoa or greater is my break point of what dark chocolate is. Longevity is even higher than that. It's sometimes a challenge getting it over there because when we ship hot chocolate over here is when it's cool, but then it shows up over there and it gets hot. And so I don't know what kind of shape, if they look pretty.
We actually don't get the chocolate. We get just the
cocoa
chocolate
powder.
Yeah, we can't get the longevity chocolate. We would love it.
Yeah, the reason why is because it probably wouldn't look pretty by the time it got to you.
No.
You know, Michelle wants it to look pretty for you, you know, and so we can't do that. The third thing I want to mention of the three big minerals is potassium. And believe it or not, potassium, you almost need to take more of it because your body uses it a lot. And we don't put it in a lot of our products because it's so common in food. But there again, it helps regulate blood pressure, prevents strokes, maintains regular heartbeat. It protects your bones, prevents kidney stones for those that have those problems. Proper muscle contraction along with calcium. Maintains your fluids within your body the way they're supposed to be. It aids as a nutrient transporter. A little bit different. Doesn't help you absorb the nutrient, but once it's in your blood and it has to get into the cell, potassium is a key cofactor of carrying nutrients across the cell wall into the cell. And it helps regulate blood sugar. You know, bananas, cantaloupes, oranges, all high in potassium. Usually I tell people if they get cramps and whatnot, start taking a half a banana a day and I bet you their cramps go away. And drink more water. They're also in spinach and green leafy. All your root vegetables like potatoes and yams and those types of things, they're all available there. The average male needs 3,400 milligrams of potassium a day. That's how much your body uses up. It's actually more than calcium. Women, it's not as high, 2,600. Pregnant women, 2,900. Breastfeeding women, 2,800. And then if you want to work with children, you know, if they're half the weight of an adult, then you're half the amount. So it's kind of an easy way to do it. So potassium, one of the things that I've always kind of pushed, Steve, and I have never gotten it through, is a really potassium heavy product that has that 1,000 plus milligrams of potassium. But I haven't gotten him to do it yet. We'll get maybe down the road, maybe when we're 40 years old, I'll get him to do it. But, you know, it's something that I think everyone needs to start being more and more aware of, that their needs there. Because if they get muscle cramps and things like that, with what we described today, it's either going to be a potassium, a magnesium, or a potassium or a calcium deficiency. And if you're taking the Mighty 90, like I hope everybody is, you're probably getting the calcium and the magnesium, which means you're probably missing out on the potassium. So that's why I have you do that. I'm a true believer that almost all athletes are potassium deficient because they sweat. And when you sweat, it isn't just water you're sweating minerals too. And since potassium is the highest by volume you need, you sweat more of it than anything else. And so you need to really focus on that, especially if you're athletes. And that's not saying that calcium, magnesium, and all your B vitamins aren't important. They are, but potassium is a biggie. You know, 10 years ago, I was a volunteer EMT and fireman, and, you know, working those fires, especially when they're brush fire, very hot. And, you know, being an EMT, I still remember the day I went out on a call, and it was a crew that was building a road, and it was about 110 outside, and they were moving that pavement. And when the 37-year-old man with 2 kids was out when I got there, the foreman was going crazy, saying that he's telling all his people to drink water, drink water. When I got to him, his body core temperature was 109 degrees, which is at least 4 centigrade degrees too high in Celsius. And he didn't make it. You know, even though I cooled down his body very quickly by putting ice bags on him and all around him and dropped his temperature down, he basically cooked. And one of the things to keep in mind is that just drinking water sometimes doesn't do the trick. You need to add nutrients to the water, adding Cal Mag to the water, eating a banana, things like that help you prevent from getting heat stroke and heat exhaustion to a great deal. So if you have friends that work in extremely hot environments, and I could say putting on roofs, pavements, construction works, cooks that work on a line with a broiler, all those types of occupations, they need to drink their fluids, and getting things like Rebound or CalMag, and they put it in their water while they drink, just will give them a higher quality of life. And I really encourage doing that.
And our hydration sticks.
You know, I've been yakking for almost 20 minutes now, and I know you guys always have questions. And so I always try to leave a little time at the end to answer questions. So what's the first one?
Well, Karen, it's Karen's room that asked the question on the CalMag. Karen, do you have questions there, my friend? No,
she could, but she needs to unmute herself.
Yes, it takes a while sometimes. Or she's not listening. Yeah, I can see Karen's head.
Has anyone got a question?
Why is it
okay?
I don't know.
Yeah, why is potassium?
Can you ask that louder? We couldn't quite hear you.
Well, it's probably a question that Richard's not going to know. Apparently, potassium is banned in Australia.
Well, it's in bananas.
Oh, if it's in the soil.
Yeah, I don't know. Has anyone else got a
potassium is natural in bananas.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's because bananas grow best in volcanic soil, and volcanic soil is high in potassium. Yeah. You don't have supplements with potassium over there?
I'm not allowed to have them.
Apparently, we're not allowed to have them now. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, what someone's saying here.
You're trying to kill us.
Yeah, I presume you're not allowed it on its own. I don't know.
Well, maybe your politicians need to stand out in the sun more and get some cramps. Maybe they'll reconsider.
Exactly.
Doing air conditioning too much.
Andrew's got a question.
Okay, so my wife recently was taking Rebound, and she was having some fainting spells, and her chiropractor, who's an ex-doctor, basically looked at the Rebound FX and said, "Oh, that's got too much potassium in it. That can kill you."
Did you hear that, Richard?
Yeah, it's sports certified safe over here for athletes. And I've never heard of someone passing out because of Rebound. I lay a bet it was something else.
Can I interrupt there for a minute? You know, it is actually I read this quite early on in my time with longevity when we came over with Benny, that Rebound is actually also sports certified by the Australian Sports Institution here in Australia. So that Dr. Chiropractor has got it wrong.
And just to update you on that, it isn't currently, because it's a renewable fee that we have to do with the Australian government. We might do it again before the Summer Olympics, but it's fairly expensive.
It definitely was at one point anyway, put it that way.
It was at one point, that is correct.
And if it's only just because of a fee, I would say it still would be a high recommendation in my books anyway.
Yeah, your world-class cyclist rider, and I don't remember his name, loves it and was endorsing it in Australia. So there we go with that. What else we got, guys?
Bronwyn, so I can't remember if Richard mentioned it with the tri-calciums he talked about, but someone's mentioned the carbonated calcium that we have in our products. What's your thoughts on that?
We don't have a carbonated calcium.
We don't have a carbonated calcium.
Calcium carbonate.
Calcium carbonate. Yeah.
Oh, carbonate. The CalMag is calcium carbonate, but then we do the process with it to cut the size of the molecule in about 1/4 so that it's more absorbable. We try not to actually use it.
You think, Liz?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, that's great.
That's a good question. Are you right there now, Karen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so because young Harry, now I don't know if you can answer this, but young Harry, he can't put his camera on today for whatever reason. He had a question. Of course, I can't put his camera on. I can't bring him up. He had a question on sciatica.
It's stubborn sciatica. Yeah.
Can you ask that, please, Harry?
Yeah.
Sir,
23 years old, 6'3", 185 pounds, and has stubborn sciatica, which just doesn't go. We've taken we've taken a lot of the products from Longevity. Probably not enough, I think. He's a bit stubborn.
I would recommend 2 products and 1 procedure. The 2 products are liquid glucogel and Good Herbs nerve support. And then I would tell him to start taking a yoga class so that he starts increasing his stretching in his back and in his hips.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Plus the 90. You've got to take the 90. You know, this is all over and above the 90.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's taking the 90 at the moment, but he's taking some of the other products, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Grant had a question. At least I thought I saw his finger go up.
Grant always has a
I
question.
do. I've got a couple, Richard. My daughter keeps fainting all the time, and I'm trying to give her to take Rebound when she's out working, and she keeps telling me that you can over supplement on the stuff. So more than half a little gram is too much. So what's the go?
She's fainting?
Yeah, she faints. She doesn't absorb nutrients very well, so she works out walking horses, and she keeps fainting. And they're very, very anti supplements. So I'm trying to give her some Rebound, and she tells me that you can over supplement on Rebound. And I'm saying it's ridiculous, but I'd like to hear it from you, please.
So no, you can't. And I would probably give her Beyond Tangy Tangerine just to give her a full spectrum, but she's going to fight on it. You know, I think, you know, in general, we can all agree that trying to convince our family is the hardest person to convince, because most of us aren't doctors, and they'll say, well, my doctor said, and that's their defense mechanism. We have been selling Beyond Tangy. Well, we've been selling Ultimate Classic for 30 years, as long as we've been open. And we've in the United States with the FDA, we've never been cited with an overdose condition. And there's people that are drinking 3 and 4 ounces a day.
Yeah.
And so the chances of her overdosing, if she stays within the recommended daily dose on the instructions, are between nil and none.
Thank you, Richard. I just wanted to confirm. And my other one is, I've got a good friend of mine, one of my best mates from school, and he's in Australia, but he's convinced that the Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is much better than the Tangy Tangerine 2.0 as far as fighting his cancer. He's suffering cancer at the moment.
So the research study we did with Clemson University, which is a huge university on the East Coast of the United States, we took the original 1.0 and we took Ultimate Classic, and they exposed the two nutrients to cancer cells. They didn't give them to an animal and see if the cancer went away. They did it in a beaker or a petri dish and did the test. And actually, Classic did a better job than the powders in knocking off cancer. Now, can we make any sort of a claim on that? No, absolutely not. If you send me an email, I could probably find the original write-up on the study and I could send it to you. I'm looking over on my bookshelf to see if I spot it right off the bat. It's got to be there. I got to have one around here somewhere. And you could do it, but we actually had Clemson actually asked us to stop handing out the brochure because all the distributors were calling Clemson directly and not us, asking questions about the research, and they got kind of tired of the calls. And so we were gracious enough to work with them. Is 2.5 better than 2.0? No. No. They should be relatively exactly the same.
Thank you.
I mean,
we're going to get to 2.0.
The amount of vitamin C. You can look at the amount of trace minerals in it. You can look at the amount of selenium in it, and they're both the same.
Yeah, we have.
He was going on about the mushrooms in 2.0. 2.5, sorry. The mushrooms in 2.5.
2.0 has mushrooms in it.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Tart. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
There you go. I'm just adding.
Thank you, Richard.
Young Kevin.
We've got to remember, Richard. We have a different version down here slightly, so it's not quite apples against apples. So that's the unfortunate part. And of course, everybody's got their hand up looking for the.
Kevin, forgive me because I don't even have all the American products memorized anymore, let alone the variations they have to be. But I will look at the powders that you have. And do you have Ultimate Classic down there?
No.
Only in the capsule.
Only in the capsule. Okay. I'll next week we'll talk about what products I'd recommend.
You're going to come next week, or do you mean next month?
I mean next
month.
month.
So the 2.5 basically isn't available down here. And so we've only got the 2, and we have the modified 2 with the less D and the less B12. It's all about the B12 and the B complexes down here. So if they're high, then we struggle to get it over this part of the world, but everything else is okay.
If I had an individual that had a particular serious disease, I'd call up someone in the United States and have them send it to you in small doses of 3 months or less.
Over here we can auto ship to our US PO box, and we can. I only consume the American BT5 and I actually rotate quite a few of them just because you get sick of the same flavors. I always play around with flavors, but I always consume the Beyond Tangy American rather than New Zealand because of the B12 and the various other things which are more beneficial.
B12 is so hard to absorb. It just makes me shake my head when they turn around and say it's too high.
Exactly.
But, if I had a friend that had a condition, I'd find a way to get Classic. I'd find the way to get Z Radical. I'd find the way to get beta glucan. And I don't know how many of those are available for you guys, but if there's a will, there's a way. And my email is richard@youngevity.com. And I'd be more than happy to help any of you, anybody.
Yeah, just that freight. It's just the freight. Everything's available to us via the personal systems. It's like how we send stuff from New Zealand to Australia. You can use the personal side of it. It's just that freight, It cost me double the amount to get it over here. So whatever it costs in America, then just double that, and that's what it cost me to get here.
Yeah, I think a flat rate box to Australia now is a little over $100 US, which means it's probably about 120 Australian dollars, and I could send you 4 liquid bottles or 6 powders, and you divide that out, you know, $20 a bottle.
So it's all available, and I think people should probably take you up on your offer to help them out to get some of this United States stuff into Australia, New Zealand. So, you know.
Yeah. Now, I just a quick question in the chat from Karen's room. Do you know anything, Richard? And we forgive you if you don't because it's new. Do you know anything about the new what is it?
Yeah, no. You know, being gone on vacation, I haven't did the breakout. We'll make that the main topic next month.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan because it's coming here, but it won't be released onto our websites, I believe, down under until the final show in New Zealand on the 1st of November. But we can get we can get it.
I have 2 or 3 distributors that are taking it now. And when they're going strictly by the program, they're losing 5 to 6 pounds a week. So that would be 2.5 kilos, which is a pretty good amount.
Is that a good thing for everyone if we have Richard research and do that for next time? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm really interested in that.
Definitely.
Good. Now, Karen, what was that question you had there?
Oh, sorry, I know Richard has to go, but hey, Liz.
Yeah.
Hi.
The folate question, what was it?
Yeah, the difference between our folate and folic acid that we use.
Oh, the difference between the folate acid that we use and the folate acid in other products. Folate.
Folate.
So folate comes in 2 different forms, cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. We try to use methyl whenever we can because there's a certain percentage of the population that struggles more than the rest of us on absorbing B12 and folate. And so if you use the methyl form, you have a better chance of absorbing a greater percentage of it. And it's just what it's bonded to. And the methyl form seems to work a little bit better.
Okay, does that help you, Karen?
I think so.
Is the metal one a chemical one? Or is
I presume it's a natural form, is it?
They both begin as a natural form, then they go into a lab and they're bonded to other things. So I call it an iffy form.
Yeah.
Because if you're a puritist, it's going to be no. If you're not a puritist, it's going to be yes.
Okay, and that's
it's
all
just
about
like vitamin C comes originally from oranges out of Europe, but then we pull the vitamin C out, and that's a chemical process. So is it natural or is it synthetic?
Yeah.
To me, it's natural.
To me, it would be natural too, because, you know, you're just pulling it out. You're not changing it.
And that goes for our daily.
But you have the internet lovers that will bring up an article saying it's not.
Okay. And that's also the same for our daily classic tablets, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, thank you, Richard.
I will be on next month with you, and we'll talk about the new weight loss, and we'll talk about formulas that we can take for various challenges that we can't talk about. Maybe we won't record next week.
I always record them. If I can't put it up somewhere, then it's always still there that I can send it to people. Does that make sense?
Have we got time for a question? What is it? We'll quickly say it.
Okay, so I have the big brown stains on my lower legs. Is there any way to get rid of those? I got them when I had plantar fasciitis on both feet at different times, so I wasn't walking much, exercising much at all. So
try to increase your EFAs by 1 a day.
Oh, yeah.
Essential fatty acids.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
By 1 a day. So up to what, she should take about 10, 12, 15?
How much does she weigh? How many kilos?
90 kilos. Maybe 88, 89, 90.
I would say 6, 7.
A day. Okay.
7 grams a day.
Of the EFA
and nothing
plus.
to rub on them?
Come from inside.
No. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've also got hemochromatosis.
He's got hemochromatosis.
But I haven't had a bleed for like 5 years.
That wouldn't contribute, would it?
It could, because it's going to thin your blood ever so slightly. So if it shows up, then you're going to have to you're going to have to weigh which way you want to go. You could always, well, in the United States, you can go to a medical lab and get your platelet count done and see how fast you're coagulating to see if you're borderline or not. I don't know if you have those options over there in Australia.
Well, as I said, I haven't had a bleed for 5-6 years. It seems to have passed out.
Then how many EFAs a day are you taking?
I'm not.
None.
Let's start out with 3 and see how your body reacts over a month and a half, and then
great.
go up a little bit.
That's fabulous.
Thank you, Richard.
That's
Thank
a
you.
good idea. Okay, well, as I ask you all nicely here in Bronie's World to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you're getting the right information and you're combining everything with the 90, then you too, my friends, will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's World. And thank you all for coming, and thank you, Richard. And we look forward to seeing you next month here in at Bronie's desk. Bye for now.
Thank you, Bronie. Thank you, Richard.